Do you believe in ghosts? Well, I got a story for you. I do not remember how old I was. I know I was in my teens. I was all alone. My grandfather had died somewhere in 1986. Like, my grandmother was at work. I was downstairs in the basement. The basement was long. It had a wall that separated the recreational side from the utility side. So I went downstairs, and I must have been thinking about my grandfather. I must have missed him. He was like my magician. He used to make anything happen for me. He used to spoil the crap out of me. So I sat down on his metal toolbox, sat down in front of this big white pine dresser where some of his belongings were. So I opened up the bottom drawer. It had like 3 or 4 drawers. Opened up that bottom drawer, and there was this black and white photo of a vessel, a ship that he was stationed on when he was in the Navy. I picked it up and I checked it out. And then I reached in there and I found a little box of matches, the kind where you slide the little box out and it's got a little striker on the side. You put a little wooden stick out and you can also strike it on your zipper or on a rock and it'll light. I opened it up and I took that stick out and I heard, "Jeremy, don't ever play with fire." I thought that was kind of weird. Mind you, I'm sitting right here, and that doorway that I came in was over here, and then out that way was the steps that I came down. So I put that thing back, and then I see his .38 snub-nosed revolver pistol that he had when he was the chief of police on the East Coast. So I picked it up, and I was checking it out, and I heard distinctly like my grandfather was in the room. "Jeremy, don't ever play with guns." I'm getting this chill right now, reliving this experience. So I feel this chill, and I heard that voice, and I put that thing back, and I shut the door, and I jumped up like I just got busted, like a little kid looking at a dirty magazine that he shouldn't be looking at, you know, by his mother. Anyway, I look at that doorway, and I'm like, what the heck was that? So I go over to the doorway, right, and I get my hands around that door, and as I peeked around that corner, I was freaking out. It was a wall of fog that floated through the end of that basement and disappeared through the wall where there was a door going into a cedar closet. I took off. I ran up those steps on all fours. The steps had these metal protectors screwed in on the edges. When I got to the top of the steps, this is where end of the memory. I can't recall anything after this. I was freaked. I do recall that my shins, my legs, were bloody. I tore myself up getting up out of that basement. I don't know if you believe in ghosts. All I know is I didn't really either. But seeing is believing. You know, if an alien walks in your house, you're going to believe in aliens. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You see a death ray, you're going to believe in death rays. I can feel it. Anyway, another time my buddy came over. I don't even think I told anybody. I think because back then it wasn't cool to see a psychiatrist or a quack or anything. I thought they'd send me to the loony bin because I think they used to threaten us with that back in the day. They'd whoop your butt and send you to the loony bin because you could still get a butt whooping back then without anybody calling the police. My buddy and I were down in the basement, and don't tell anybody because I think we were playing with, you might call them dolls, but boys call them action figures, okay? They were G.I. Joes. We were playing, and I must have told him because I said, "Hey." He said, "Yep, I see him." And it floated between us, and that boy was bigger than me. He shoved me out of the way. I mean, like bigger, like a third of the weight that I was. Like more. I was probably like 90 pounds or 110 pounds if he was, I don't know how big, but he was bigger than me. He shoved me out of the way. I'd never seen that boy move so fast in my life. End of story. Thanks for listening. Have a good night. Seeing's believing. That crap is real.